We're nearing the end of the weekend and the final weekend prior to the NHL Trade Deadline finishing up on March 3rd, midway through Friday afternoon. Friends, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. Good afternoon and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel as we get set to just kind of go over the last week lead up prior to the March 3rd's deadline and of course getting ourselves set for whatever moves the Oilers are about to be making because they haven't made any as of yet. Friends, before we get there though, what I want you to do if you're new to the channel is to consider hitting that subscribe button here on Dolynny TV. I'd love to have you join. We've just hit 10,850 subscribers. Trust me, by the end of the week, we're going to be over that 11,000 subscriber mark. All right, I got full confidence in that, and I would love your help in doing as such. So, let's get to it, friends. Jakob Chychrun, Tanner Jeannot, and Timo Meier. Well, what do we know on those three players? It's another day, another dollar for Edmonton Oilers media in terms of just talking rumors because so far we don't got any trades to talk about. Ken Holland continues to just sit there and do nothing, and now, right, those three players are of big interest today, not necessarily all for the Oilers, but necessarily in the situation where it pertains to what the Oilers do at the NHL trade deadline. All right, friends, let's get to it, shall we? Let's discuss first off Jakob Chychrun. We know that he's still out there, available to be traded for from the Arizona Coyotes. Now, why are we circling back to this? I think it was mentioned by Ryan Rishaug today that there is potential that the Oilers do still end up acquiring Jakob Chychrun, and I think the biggest factor to that is the 1 in a million chance on Erik Karlsson, and B, the fact that you have this game against Columbus that went sideways yesterday, and kind of how it all kind of rolls out for the Oilers in terms of needing to defend better, but also be able to keep the pressure up at all times. And a guy like Jakob Chychrun does exactly that. He's a good defenseman first, but also a very good offensive producer second. And that's where we really need somebody on the back end to lead the way. Now, how you make the salary fit, I'm not sure how you do that. Obviously, I think yes, Puljujärvi has to be involved. A guy like Warren Foegele, Kailer Yamamoto probably have to be involved. But as it currently sits, we still have no indication on that. What we've been told is it's a first rounder and a first round equivalent player to go back to Arizona. That's what they're asking for in Jakob Chychrun. Do the Oilers have that available? Yes, they do. Yes, Puljujärvi, Kailer Yamamoto absolutely can do that if needed. And I think that does actually get you 50% retention as well from the Coyotes. So there's a couple of mix match things here that could still happen to very well make Jakob Chychrun an Edmonton Oilers player by the end of the week. But as it stands, again, we're still waiting on something bigger to happen today. But as it stands, nothing is pressing there and probably won't happen. And here's where I'm going into these next two players is kind of the players that we've been linked to are not going to be the players we end up. The guys that you have not heard the Oilers have any interest in at all are going to be the guys that are Oilers by the end of Friday. That's my sense. Here's where I'm coming into things right now is I have a feeling that Ken Holland has guys that are not drawing interest by any other team, guys that are falling out of playoff spots from other teams, and we're looking to make that trade instead of going for the most obvious cut. So that's where we're sitting right now. Is I think Chychrun back on the board for some extent, whether it be just Ryan Rishaug really liking a player or what, but he's back on the board for now, so we'll hold up and we'll keep monitoring that situation. But in terms of a situation we're monitoring today, well, friends, it is Timo Meier. And this is maybe to an extent where the Oilers do once again revisit Erik Karlsson once we find out what's going on with Timo Meier. That's the hardest part today. We've been waiting on this trade for about 2.5 hours at time of recording, and all we know is Timo Meier and potentially Scott Harrington are headed to the New Jersey Devils. So, yeah, you know what? That's where we're sitting right now. We'd love to know what the full details are so as we can figure it out. But reports that I've been reading are saying that there is a third team potentially involved to try and figure out the salary cap implications, the retention, all that. And as they are trying to do that, the NHL is trying to vet the fact that either the teams are cap compliant or they are not cap compliant. So that's where we're kind of sitting right now, trying to figure things out in terms of are the Oilers at all, not necessarily involved, but involved in terms of potential opening of the trade market for Erik Karlsson should they want to try and re-pursue that for a third or fourth time in this shortened past month and a half period. So that's really all there is to really worry about as an Oilers fan on Timo Meier's front. But as it currently sits, we'll move into the next little section here because this gets to our players we've been talking about. Ongoing scratches for trade-related reasons. Jakob Chychrun, 7. Vladislav Gavrikov, 7. Luke Schenn, 3. Patrick Kane now 1. Sam Lafferty now 1. And tonight, well, making his first trade-related scratch is Tanner Jeannot. So here's where we're at, right? You pick them on that list. I think every single one of those guys the Oilers have been linked to at some point on that list. So again, that's where it gets really sketchy. That according to Chris Johnston, by the way, sorry. But it's one of those things is, again, as I said earlier, I think the Oilers go off the board instead of staying on this board. And the most impactful player for the Oilers on that list would be Jakob Chychrun, considering Patrick Kane is indeed heading to Chicago home to pack some stuff and go to New York for a trade to be released probably on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. That's fine and dandy, but as it sits, all of a sudden you see a new name on that list outside of Sam Lafferty, who sat the game with Patrick Kane as well, Tanner Jeannot. And that's where I promised you we'd get to one other thing, and that's Tanner Jeannot here in terms of a guy that, hey, you know what, he fits well. I think he's got an $850,000 cap hit, so that's not bad at all. But right now as it is, we're looking for... we're looking to see if there is something that I can get going here. Sorry, this is the tweet from Elliot Friedman I'm looking for. Tanner Jeannot, obviously $850,000 or some kind of cap hit. But what does that mean? That means every single NHL team in a playoff spot should want that guy if he brings what Tanner Jeannot normally brings to the lineup, which is physical edge, grit, and a little bit of scoring touch in the bottom six. So when you say all that, and you say that guy is available for the trade market, and you know who's in the playoffs, this leads to this Elliot Friedman tweet here where it says, well, I'm not exactly sure where this is going to go, but it sounds like Tampa Bay has made a pitch for Tanner Jeannot. So to new general manager Barry Trotz of the Nashville Predators, as David Poile has stepped down and relinquished day-to-day duties by everything that's been reported today as well. It's been a nutty Sunday afternoon, Sunday night prior to getting going in this trade deadline week is, the Nashville Predators are about to pull their first trade with a new man at the helm for the first time in franchise history. So that's an interesting go, although Barry Trotz does not effectively take over until June 30th or July 1st or however that all takes out. But right now as it sits, everybody pretty much on my Twitter timeline, and you know I follow pretty much every Oilers, or not Oilers YouTuber, but every NHL YouTuber I know to follow, and of course all the insiders, is making it sound like Tanner Jeannot is headed to Tampa Bay. But for $850,000, a minimal cap hit and a couple of picks maybe to give up, I would be definitely in a Tanner Jeannot trade if the Oilers can make it happen. We've been linked at times this week to such a thing going down, but as it currently stands, nothing formal as of yet on any front. So that's where we sit, friends. It's just another day in the making for the Oilers trade deadline plans come Friday afternoon. In case you have something, hey, let me know in the comments section below. But I don't think there's much else to add on the Oilers front as Sunday night comes into full effect. 5:31 here, eat dinner, watch some TV, wait for this Timo Meier trade to wrap up, and then go to bed and start the work week fresh on Monday morning. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm up on out of here.